Hello again, I'm Stephen Wells, the host of the Motoring Weekly podcast for the Australian historic road and racing community. This is episode 193 with a preview of the upcoming auction with Halcyon Auctions in Mascot. Now, I've been to the auction room, seen the cars, and had a chat with James Nicholls about the auction, the mix of classic vehicles going under the hammer, plus some of the memorabilia and photographic prints from what I would call the golden age of rock music. I start, though, with James' thoughts on the recent Sydney Harbour Concours event. I'm back with James Nicholls. We're going to talk about the next auction that's coming up next week on the 9th, where he's got some delectable vehicles that I'd like to have a chat to him about. But first of all, James, I'd like to just get a bit of feedback from you about how you felt the Sydney Harbour Concours went from your perspective.
Well, Stephen, thank you very much. From my perspective and our perspective at the Sydney Harbour Concours, we think, look, when you're involved in something, you know the things that you've got wrong. So that we think there are plenty of things that we can improve upon moving forwards. But we also think that it was a very successful event, and by and large, everybody loved it. Interstate and overseas visitors continue to rave about the venue at Cockatoo Island, and we're in the throes of re-signing for the next 3 years for Cockatoo Island. If you'd have asked me that on the Thursday at 11 o'clock in the evening, when I was on my second set of clothes, which were wet after the first set had been changed, and I was standing in 2 inches of water pushing the cars around, when I was going, I'm never coming back here again. But everybody loves it. But I think more to the point is, Stephen, you were at the event. What did you think of it?
I loved it. I really liked the space you've got there. Unfortunately, on the Friday it was a little bit damp, so we couldn't get the cars out on show, as it were. But you had such a nice mix of the brand new McLaren hypercar right back to the 30s Delage and everything in between.
Yeah, I think we had some great cars. In the Concours, I mean, the Delage by Gurney FHC won that, which was a great car. As you said, we had everything in between, and we had McLaren who were exhibiting Project Endurance, only the 4th place in the world that car had ever been seen. We saw it here in Sydney before it went to the Grand Prix the following weekend. Aston Martin showed the Valhalla. There were some great Bentleys, which had not been seen before. So the manufacturers were fabulous in supporting us. And I think we had some wonderful cars in the Concours with some oddball things and some interesting things like the Bond bug, which caused a stir. Yeah. So it was, but I mean, the fabulous, we had a couple of fabulous gull wings as we celebrated 100th anniversary of Mercedes-Benz and 140 years of innovation of Mercedes inventing the first car. So they claim. I don't, so there was some. We did an SL class, and we had 3 or 4 beautiful 300 SLs and one fantastic car, which won Best in Show post-war. We had a fabulous Rolls-Royce, which won Best in Show pre-war, and that gentleman's coming back again with a Derby Bentley next year.
Okay.
And of course the Delage, which was just stunning, and was driven by Spencer Martin, 2-time Australian champion, represented the car on behalf of the owner. So I think it was really good. Friday was a really interesting day. Obviously the weather was atrocious, but I think it's still, we had a wonderful convivial atmosphere. We moved all the tables and chairs, which had been set up for lunch, outside, inside, so everybody ate inside, and everybody just joined in the fun. And I think, it was a pity on the Friday that we weren't able to parade the cars. It was just so wet. I think it's really important for us that a venue like Cockatoo Island, it's a great venue. It's got indoors if it rains. It's got outdoors where we can parade the cars. And we want to do, we think seeing and hearing the cars is a really important part of the event. And one of the things we're talking about doing next year is, I can't remember what we're calling it, but the something like His Master's Voice. We're going to get some of the cars out and rev them up, and people can vote on which one they like best. I don't know whether that plan will come to fruition, but remember the Porsche that we had the big racing Porsche we had the previous year. Just to hear that roar was amazing. And yeah, so we want people to see and hear. One of the things we're doing is starting to put some of our guests into the cars when they do the parade laps, which it makes it a bit of fun. So we want to do lots more interactive stuff. I think this year was a step up. Next year, we're going to see an even bigger step up at the Sydney Harbour Concours, which, is going to be pretty sure it's going to be the last weekend in February. We're trying not to clash with other great events such as obviously the Formula One Grand Prix, Adelaide Motorsport Festival, which we're set for the end of February. And one of the great things I think we did this year, I don't know whether you were there, Stephen, you were there on the Thursday?
No, not the Thursday.
The Thursday was really interesting because it was a free public event, and we took 25 or 30 of the Concours cars and we parked them in the Royal Botanic Gardens in front of the Sydney Opera House. We had over 600 people turn up. It was a bit of a press launch, a bit of a launch, which was we were really helped by Latrobe Financial and Ampol, and basically we did a bit of a reenactment of a sort of homage to the 70th anniversary of the first Ampol Round Australia trial in 1955, is that right? 1956. Sorry, not 1956. So the 70th anniversary. We were planning to start that in Bondi and then drive to our barging point onto Cockatoo. But because of the terrible incidents in Bondi before Christmas, we moved that to in front of the Royal Botanic Garden, and it was absolutely fantastic on the Bennelong lawn, the Opera House in the background, the harbour, the bridge, and then the cars paraded over the harbour bridge to Woolwich, where we barged them on Cockatoo Island. And I think the owners loved doing that. So it was a special occasion, particularly for the interstate owners and overseas owners. It was really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. I think it's always a great event on the calendar, and it's now really, this will be number 9 next year, won't it? So you've really got it nicely set in the calendar for generations to come.
Well, that's what we're hoping. We hope to get more international visitors. We hope to have a few more international entrants. We don't want to overdo the international entrants because we want it to be an Australian event, but I think it's important that people get to see cars that they would otherwise not see. And there are a lot of wonderful cars in Australia. But this year, we had an entrant from Canada with a beautiful Bugatti and an entrant from Italy in a fabulous prototype Alfa Romeo TZ. We've got promised for next year somebody coming, another one from Italy, one from India, one from the US, and hopefully one from Thailand. I'm hoping to secure that next month. So, we want to bring cars that nobody's ever seen before in this country, as well as all the wonderful cars the local people have to exhibit.
And there's certainly quite a lot of cars here that most people haven't seen them. The Bond Bug for one, not many people have seen a Reliant Scimitar, and even the Gullwing, though people don't see those every day, so it's lovely to come and see one on show.
And Ferrari 275 GTB, which was driven by its owner all the way from Victoria. No, I'm not going to wash it. I'm not interested in. I just want to be here and have fun. He enjoyed the drive here and he enjoyed the drive home, and he had a great long weekend with us. And that's where we want it to be a fun event that people enjoy and see some great cars. But I think the cars are just the focal point. It's also about everything else that goes. We had the wine master classes, the jeweler, and the tailor, and trying to do more interactive stuff as we get better every year.
Yeah, good. Well, we're going to have a chat about your next auction now, which is coming up next week on the 9th. Just want to start off with the non-vehicle stuff that you've got going, because you've got a number of different things, including some car badges. You've got a phone, which is in shape of Porsche. Signs, and I noticed one was a clearway sign for the Sydney Olympics. I don't know how anybody managed to get that one off a street.
Yeah, well, hopefully the owner won't, or we won't get arrested for trying to sell that. Obviously, somebody late at night with a screwdriver was out and about 26 years ago. We got some great really interesting little things. There's a wonderful radiator mascot in the shape of a scantily dressed lady, the Sydney Clearway sign from the 2000 Olympics, a car badge, would you believe, and a transfer sticker from the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. And that transfer sticker is, I'm not sure if that's the right way to term it, but that sticker is still wrapped up in sort of its crinkly paper. It's never been used. I think, so there's some really nice bits and pieces. The phone actually works. Well, we think it works. So if you want a shape of a phone in the shape of a Porsche, it's great. Some nice badges, early NRMA badges, AA badges, Mercedes badges, some great pieces. We've also got some wonderful photography, which is all sort of car linked, if you like. It's Miles Davis, the great jazz trumpeter, with his Ferrari 275 GTB. The focus is on Miles Davis, but there's this beautiful red Ferrari in there as well. And so they've all got a link to George Harrison of the Beatles on his motorbike, Triumph Bonneville motorbike. So some really, really nice stuff. And very, very rare stuff, limited edition prints, which are very difficult to get hold of these days from anywhere in the world. And some really nice stuff by great photographers, such as Brian Duffy, which is, he's one of the doyens of photography. It's all from the Duffy or it's not all, but many of the pictures from the Duffy archive, stamped with great provenance, and just wonderful photographs. And we're going to be hanging those on the wall today, so that people coming along to the auction will be able to see them framed and beautifully displayed.
Some of those are from what I term the grand old days of rock music. As you said, you had Harrison, there's Keith Richards, Jagger, Clapton, the Beatles, etc. in those. So Brian Duffy was clearly a guy who was in the right place at the right time and well connected to take some of those images.
Yeah, I mean, I think he took great images of the supermodels of the time, the rock stars of the time. So it's real social, cultural history there, and it's great. You mentioned Eric Clapton. He's in a pre-war Lancia. It's a great photo. I think it's an Aurelia. I think it's maybe not. I can't remember. It escapes me exactly which model it is. But a great shot of him in this open-air car, long shot of him looking back over the boot towards the camera. And you wouldn't have thought, you'd have thought they'd have all been in E-types and things like that. But Eric Clapton was collecting pre-war Lancias, and that's pretty amazing. But there is that great shot of an E-type on Britain's motorway, the first motorway, the M1 in 1961. That's a fabulous image. There's one group of photographs, it's a contact sheet of Michael Caine, and it's all portraits of Caine. There's about 16 of them, all in one shot, a contact sheet. So there's no direct link to the car in that photograph. But of course, Michael Caine, you're not supposed to blow doors off.
You do remember him and the Minis.
The Minis and the Lamborghini Miura. We don't have any Minis or Lamborghini Miuras in this forthcoming sale, but we've got some fantastic cars.
You do. And I want to start off, I put them in a rough kind of order, but you've got a couple of Mercedes, you've got a 380 SEC and a 560 SL.
Yeah, I think Mercedes, if this is the year to buy a Mercedes, it's the 100th anniversary of when Mercedes and Daimler-Benz became Mercedes-Benz, and it's the 140th anniversary of Mercedes inventing the motor car, whatever it
concept of it,
yes. So this is the year to buy one. The 380 SEC, lovely, beautiful coupe, blue, really presents really, really well. And then the 560 SL is a mind-blowing car. I mean, very rare, very, very rare. motor car, Australian delivered, so factory right-hand drive, and it comes with everything, and it is immaculate.
Yeah.
So, and I think that could become a very collectible, if it's not already, a very, very collectible car.
Yeah.
And that car was actually in the Sydney Harbour Concours this year, helping to celebrate the Mercedes-Benz anniversary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'll have seen that before, but an incredible example.
They've got two Chevrolet Corvettes, a C2 and a C3.
Yeah, and they're both beautiful. I don't know which one I like better. The Larry part of me really goes for the C3. I mean, it is, it's got these pop-out bits in the roof, so it becomes a Targa, and it's just got this long bonnet and this cam tail, and it's just, it's pretty, pretty exciting car. That you just want to route. I think it's got a Route 66 sticker on it on the back window or something. It's definitely a Route 66 sort of car. But just mind-blowing piece of kit. Again, sound of it is phenomenal. Be a great car to drive, and I think that presents really nicely. Whereas the C2, a much earlier car, nearly 20 years younger, 1963 model. Stingray convertible is a very, very special motor car, and presents incredibly well. It's had a lot of money on it. It took a long time to be restored, so much so that the current owner, I sold another, he's a Corvette collector, I sold another Corvette for him about 10 years ago at auction. It's taken so long to get this car restored and finished off that he's now decided he's too old to drive it. He's got dodgy hips. And he said, James, I just can't drive. I know it's breaking his heart to let it go. That is a very, very special motor car with lots of good provenance history, everything in the restoration done correctly, and I think priced very well. At the moment, it's perhaps not the best time. Let's not put a downer on it. It's perhaps not the best time with everything that's going on in the world to have a car auction, but I think people have got to be positive outlook. Don't leave the money in the bank. That could just disappear tomorrow. Get out there, buy a motor car, and enjoy it before it's too late.
Yeah, and if you look at enjoyment that people get out of these cars, it's not just them; it's also the family. It's everybody that sees, especially the Stingray. When you see one of those floating around, you always have to stop and have a look.
And both these the Stingray is and what better year? Man is going back to the moon, and of course this was the car that all of the astronauts in the day, Neil Armstrong, etc., they all had one, and obviously Chevrolet jumped on this and realised that. What a fantastic endorsement to have people who are going to the moon and people who are going to space to be driving their cars. So anybody who was anybody in NASA at the time had one. All the astronauts drove them, and obviously they'd like fast cars. And this, but they're cool. They look space age still today.
They do. If we go back to Germany, you've got three Porsches. You've got a 911S, a 930 3-litre turbo, and then a 964 Carrera 2. You always have Porsches in your auctions. They're something that people are still purchasing and still enjoying, even if they are, 40, 50 years old.
Yeah, again, the three examples that we've got are absolutely fantastic. The 964 Carrera 2 is Tiptronic, and some people go, it's fantastic. Why not have Tiptronic? It's so easy to drive. You've still got the Porsche. Great looks, incredible condition car. The 911S is 1976, so that's 50 years old. So, that's priced accordingly. It's if you want a car that's 2 years older than that, a small bumper car, it's going to cost you an absolute fortune. So, and this just drives like a dream, presents incredibly well in Porsche car trade. But the other cut Porsche that you mentioned is, you've done that a disservice, Stephen. Yes, it is.
I'm building you up.
A Porsche 930 3-litre turbo, but not just any one. It's a Martini edition. This is a real Martini, and the number that they made, it might have been more than a handful, but it was less than 2 hands and 2 feet. They didn't make very many of these, and this car is in immaculate condition, incredibly rare, great provenance, came out of England to Australia about 25 years ago. Since it's, or maybe not as long as that, sorry, maybe less than that, sorry, 2015. But it's been incredibly well looked after, incredibly well maintained. Everything is exactly as it should be.
Yeah.
Fabulous motor car. We do have a lot of Porsches. I'm not a great Porsche aficionado. I've never owned, owned lots of nice cars. But I've never owned a Porsche.
Yep.
But if I did, that Martini, so much so that, as you know, I drive a Fiat 500, bog standard base model. But what's it got stuck on it? Martini stickers. I just think, and Magneto magazine, which is out of the same stable as Octane. Many of your listeners will know about Octane magazine out of the UK, but Magneto is a sister magazine, much more stylized magazine, and goes to a lot of collectors and people who are interested in concours and things like that. Fantastic. I think I'm the Australian editor. I was once, but I think I've been dropped from the masthead, but that was once my official title for Magneto. But issue 29, which is the last issue, each issue they do something really special. Here's a link, of course. Magneto is one of our official media partners for Sydney Harbour Concours. But Magneto, each issue they do the 50 best motor racing helmets, or the 50 best Grand Prix cars, or the 50 best rally cars. The latest issue, issue 29, did 50 best racing liveries. Yeah. I can't remember them all. I thought, well, it's obvious. Which would you have thought?
Oh, I would look at the two from my youth, the John Player Special with Lotus.
That came third.
The Golf Porsches.
That came second. And Martini was right up there as number one.
Because you also had, you had the Lanciers with Martini and rallying. They were all over the shop. Were they with Brabham or somebody in Formula One? Or I can't remember.
But, you're dead right. You must have looked at the magazine, because JPS, which was great, we can't mention that now because it's fags. But JPS, we all remember that black with the gold livery. That came third. That was on Lotus, very much so. Golf, we all know, Steve McQueen, the pale blue, and the red stripe, or orange stripe, sorry, not red. That came second. And the Martini was voted number one as the best livery.
It's probably the cleanest of them all, because there's not much to it, but it just absolutely, whatever it goes on, it works.
It works on Abarth 500s, because they race those under Martini banner. It doesn't work that well on my little Fiat 500, but it still turns a few heads, and it works fantastically well on the Porsche, because that's the great association, as well as things like Lancia Delta Integrale and things like that. But the Porsche 930 Turbo, they were racing at the time, so they did this limited edition with Martini, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah,
all right. And then you've got a Rolls-Royce Silver Dawn.
Beautiful, really nice car. I've called that in the custard, in the catalogue, rhubarb and custard. It's a really, really nice car. Been incredibly well maintained, 1950 car, very well serviced and looked after by Paradise Garage, which many people will know who are Rolls-Royce aficionados. Really, really nice car, drives really well. Body needs a little bit, there's a bit here and a mark there, but in very nice condition, and in that beautiful rhubarb and custard maroon and creamy sort of
lovely
colour. It looks great.
And then Bentley 4.25 Gurney nutting.
Yeah, it's just a magnificent car. So that car, I've known that car for quite a long time now. It was used to be owned by a big collector in Melbourne. It's been in Australia for about over 20 years now. Beautiful coachwork. It was originally, it came to Australia under the auspices of Peter Wilcox, and then it was owned by Tony Denny with the Gosford Motor Museum, and people will have seen that car in the Gosford Motor Museum. The current owner, who's a very good client of ours, provided the car to us again, because we had a very successful sale of one of his cars in our last sale, which went overseas. This car is garnering quite a lot of interest. Absolutely stunning coachwork by Gurney, Knighting. The car's in fabulous condition. At some time in its life, it's had a replacement engine, so it's not what we say matching numbers, but drives fantastically well. Everything's. I mean, it's a stunning motor car, and I think would be accepted. It would certainly be accepted at the Sydney Harbour Concours d'Elegance.
Yeah. And the one that we should really talk about, which we're actually looking out on from the office, is the Bentley Speed 8 by Racing Green Engineering.
I mean, well, never forget your Welsh, Stephen. I mean, this is made by recreated by a company in South Wales, Racing Green Engineering. It's a stunning car. So it's based on a Bentley Mark 5 or 6 chassis, I can't remember off the top of my head. And the current owner of this car saw one in a rally a few years ago in Melbourne that he was organising or running a car in, and he loved it so much, he said, I want one of those. So he found a beat-up old Bentley, and I'm pleased about this. He didn't take a good Bentley Mark 5 or 6 and destroy that, as lots of people have done with Ferrari 250 GTEs and to make them into copies. Why ruin one great car? So he found that, and then he found the original type of engine for the period of the car, and then he commissioned Racing Green Engineering in South Wales to do the car. You could not build one of these for the money that we're offering this car in auction. It is in mind-blowing condition, and it's just, it's got that Le Mans look. It's got plenty of chrome. It's big. It's a beast. It's a proper Bentley tank. It's wonderful. And I defy anybody to look at that car and go, oh, I don't like that. It is just, Now, it may not be a car for everybody. It's not... the current owner says, oh no, it turns head when I go down to the supermarket. So he has used it on a sort of regular basis. I wouldn't think it's a daily driver, but what a motor car. And again, would be accepted in lots of events. It's not the original car from 1920, whatever. It's 1950 with an older engine, with a body built, however many years ago, less than 10 years ago. But it's the real deal, and I think that word replica, recreation can frighten people a little bit. But, to buy, I don't know what an original one of these would cost, but I think the money that we're asking for it it's a lot of money still, but the workmanship and the quality. So we're not saying it's, built in period or whatever. It is a recreation, a tool room copy, if you like. A replica, if you like, but it's how that word replica is used today. It has connotations of falseness, of not being quite right. I think. Whereas if you look at the original etymology of the word from when the word was first used, there's nothing wrong with something that's a replica. So but also, I think it's tremendously exciting, and it has its own intrinsic value. Wonderful.
And I think what it's doing is it's showcasing, as you said, the craftsmanship that people have spent the time to build a car that is absolutely sensational. And quite often I look at, going back to the UK, you look at these small businesses that are surviving, but they've got those highly skilled craftsmen that do one or two things exceptionally well. And they've often been an apprentice with a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley or a Jaguar and Aston, and then branched out on their own. But they are producing the highest quality pieces of whether it's panels or leather work or whatever. And so when you see something like that Speed 8, it brings it all together in a package that you just have to marvel at what a human can do.
Well, interestingly enough, a lady's just walked in as we looked there, and she's brought the photographs that we were talking about earlier to be hung on the wall, and she's just the first thing she's done is taken a picture of the Bentley. You know, if you know nothing about cars,
Yeah.
you're just going to be mind blown
Yes.
by this. And I think that thing that you say, I've been to South Wales, love it, see, but I've never been to Racing Green Engineering. But I can imagine what it's like.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of old boys working in there, taking their time, doing it right, and hopefully there'll be some younger guys
Yes.
learning the trade and being brought through as well.
Yes.
I think the quality of craftsmanship and workmanship it's done by real artisans.
Yeah.
This is not something that's been mass produced by robots or AI or. It's wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
The human hand and eye.
Yes. And we'll go slightly sort of downstream a bit to a Riley RMB 2.5 litre.
Well, you know, I think this car is really rather attractive. 1950, the same year as our Rolls-Royce that we're offering. If you put the two cars together, you know, for a 1950 car to have a 2.5 litre engine. So this would have been at the level just below the patrician Rolls-Royce and Bentley. But, you know, I can imagine the doctor, the dentist, the lawyer driving this sort of car. You know, it's a fairly upmarket car, powerful car.
Yeah.
You know, Riley, of course, now is one of those dead marks, but at the time produced some wonderful cars. Lots of Rileys were turned into specials and have even in period.
Yeah.
But it's a great car. Old boy, it comes from a deceased estate. It's been left to a young man from his grandfather's estate.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, you know, I don't really want to sell it. My granddad would, you know." But the old boy who was doing it passed away before it's finished. But it needs a bit of TLC. But the bodywork is very good indeed. Paintwork's nice. I'm not sure if that's the original colours. It's black over blue, but it looks great with a light tan stone interior. Leather in the car is really nice. It needs the roof lining finishing off, and it needs the door cards doing. So a little bit of interior work still needs doing. I'm sure that the engine, which we know runs and starts, needs a proper recommission.
Yeah.
But I think the money that we're looking at, if any, I really like it. And I think this car, there's the opportunity to buy this car. And for somebody who wants a period car, it's real class.
And it's something that when I go to Cars and Coffees, I go to some of my local club events, there are an awful lot of Sprites and Healys and things like that, and Minis. And you take a Riley in there and it's just one up on everybody else because there aren't that many around. And it is actually quite a beautiful little car.
Yeah, and I think Riley, you know, you say one up. Of course, the Riley Elf was one up on a Mini and it had a proper boot.
Yes.
But it was essentially the same, but it had the better badging on it. I think this Riley 2.5, real classy motor car. And say if you want to do cheap cars and coffees or cheap tours, get into something like this would be really, really good. And, you know, it's got suicide doors on the front. You know, it's great.
So we'll go on to something again, where it's sort of moving up and down the scale, but something that's close to my heart being a Jaguar XK140.
Yeah, this is a really, really nice car. You know, post-war Jaguars at the moment, 120, 140, 150 are a little bit down in the doldrums, so I think it's a good time to buy. I think this car is in lovely condition, been looked after by Best Car Company, Cummins Classic Cars, by Jeremy Best. He's done a lot of work on the car. It presents really, really well. It's obviously been repainted, but everything is correct about the car. Been painted in the correct colour, as according to its Jaguar Heritage Certificate. It's in very fine condition, drives very nicely, and I think would priced beautifully priced for it.
Nice.
You know, I can't believe though that our parents used to drive XK140s with tweed jackets on, because they do get a bit warm inside. But great motor car to drive.
Yep. And Ferrari 360 Spyder, which I see hiding up over there.
Yep, well, that'll be out in the forefront. A great car. Delivered new to an expat who lived in Tokyo at the time. So delivered new in Japan. And then when he returned home, the car came with him. He is now expat again. He's now living overseas, not using the car as much as he'd like. Therefore, he's decided to sell it. Remarkably fine car with every bit of paper, some of it in Japanese, but every bit of paper from day dot to now. So he's owned it for 23 years. One owner, Ferrari 360 Spyder. It's there's one little mark on one of the rims. Find me something else that's wrong with it. It's beautiful, beautiful, and cheap.
Well,
I had a new hood put on it 2 years ago, so new hood lining. So it's just... We've got some great cars in this auction. Not very many, 15, 16, whatever it is, but they're all wonderful cars. Well, there's nothing there that I think, God, why are we selling it? They're all great.
I do want to finish off on three probably oddities compared to the other ones. We'll start off with a Toyota Corolla CS.
Well, when it's a single owner family car from 50 years, the current owner is knocking on a bit now, but his mum bought this car new in 1976. There's one panel that's had a bit of damage. You can see I've forgotten the colour of the car, daisy yellow or primrose yellow or whatever it is. Slightly different, but all this car really needs, in my opinion, is just a fantastic detail. And it will come up brilliantly. The interior, the seats, the carpet, for saying they're 50 years old, they're fabulous. The car's been really well looked after. Again, the guy is, he's loath to sell it, but he's getting on now. He's saying, he doesn't use it. He'd rather it went to another. He's sad to see it leave the family, but he'd like to see it go to a lovely new home. And I think it's brilliant. I love it. The period, not is it houndstooth, but the period check on the cloth seats, great. The brown carpet, great. It's just the 1970s. It's great.
But that's the sort of car that somebody who wants to buy a classic can get into quite well, and they're relatively easy to maintain. And again, there aren't that many of them left. So you've gotten what was a family car, but today, you look at cars of the 50s and 60s that were family cars, and yet now you look at them and you just reminisce over them.
I think it's very, very rare now to see one of these cars. The badging on it is gorgeous. I just think if anybody wants to get into a first-time classic, a younger person who thinks, well, I can't afford that dream car yet, my Lamborghini Countach or whatever it might be, but they want to go and get into the. This is a perfect example of the car with a bit of spit and elbow polish. This car would come. It would be just wonderful. And wherever you go, people are going to look at it. Whichever car club event you took it to, Cars and Coffee or whatever, people are going to look at this. And when they learn the story of it being a one-owner car, they're going to be amazed. And I think there's another one on car sales, same colour. And I thought, is that this? When I was looking on there, that's more expensive than the car we're offering. This one has got to be a great buy. Great buy.
All right, we're going to finish with two really oddball cars. The first one is a Fulu 150cc microcar, which is actually right below us at the moment.
Yeah, well, more Fulu if you've been. This is great. So, is it a motor car? Is it a motorbike? What exactly is it? It's a three-wheel car with I suppose, motorbike underpinnings. These are used in China a lot, or as taxis and as little run. So it's like a posh tuk-tuk, if you like, that you're not exposed to the element and it goes quite fast. It's great. So the current owner's wife is Chinese, and he bought the car out of China. It's never been used. It's still got the plastic on the seats. Again, it's been sitting in storage. It needs a little bit of TLC, but not very much. It runs. I don't think you'd be able to get it registered in this country. I don't know, but it's never been registered. It's been here for 12 years or something. If you own a Chinese restaurant, why wouldn't you have one of these outside or inside your restaurant? You go inside, it's got all the Chinese writing on it. It's got the Chinese registration documents with it and the little license document. It's got it's everything. It's a brand new Fulu 150cc.
Which is a great marketing tool, as you said, for somebody. If you can't run it on the road, then you put it on show somewhere to attract people in.
Yeah, it's great. I've never seen one before.
No. You might never see another one again.
Certainly in Australia. I think it's probably, I can't believe there's another one here. So,
Let's finish off with the Honda Motocompo 49cc, because that's got a history of its own as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. And again, it was seen roaring around. I'm not quite sure why, but it was seen roaring around at the Sydney Harbour Concours elegance, sort of buzzing about. You know, sort of like a monkey bike sort of thing. So these were built by Honda, and obviously we know Japan has sort of got the mass urban conurbations. You know, and lots of people in tight spaces. They have very small hotel rooms and all this sort of thing. So the Honda City motor car, you could buy this Honda Motocompo as an optional extra that went in the boot of your Honda City car. And just going back to the memorabilia, we've got several models of the Honda City car with a Motocompo and things like that, and an Airfix kit or whatever it is. So it folds up and it folds away. Look on the online digital catalogue. We've got pictures of it sort of being mantled and dismantled. It's absolutely incredible. It runs really well. It'll nip along at about 25 k's an hour. I don't think you'd want to use it on the roads, because you might get, particularly now we're bringing in, I believe we're bringing in road trains to avoid the petrol issue. But it's really, really good. It's a great fun thing. It folds away. You can pick it up easily. You know, a 90-year-old lady, I reckon, could pick it up and ease it into the boot of the Honda City, or my Fiat 500. It could certainly go on the back seat of the Bentley Speed 8. It's a great little thing. They came in 3 colours, polar white, daisy yellow, and something red. This is a daisy yellow one, as is the one in the memorabilia. So I suggest you get on early on the memorabilia, buy the toys, and then wait for lot number, whatever it is. I think 32 or 3 or something like that. Get yourself a Honda Motocompo. So avant-garde is it that they now do an electric version. Honda have done a modern electric version. It's great.
So you've got a great range of vehicles, and also the memorabilia, and we spoke about the photographic prints, which are a real takes you back in time to some amazing characters with their cars as well. So the auction is on the 9th next week, starts at 7 p.m. You've got the Halcyon app that people can download and start placing bids. So live bids start at 7. But also Monday, you've got cars and chocolates down here in Mascot.
Yeah, well, I see that 41% of people are not going away over the Easter break. So what we thought we'd do on Easter Monday, here at 12 Chalmers Crescent, Mascot, at our rooms, is invite families to come along, or anybody to come along. But if, you know, as it's a bit of a family day, we thought there'll be a barbecue with a few cheap sausages, and there'll be some bit of chocolate for the kids. So come along and have a look at the cars. I think it's important that we get the younger people involved and start seeing these cars. So family day on Monday, I think we're open from 11 till 3 or 4 on Monday, Easter Monday. We'd love to see as many people here as possible. We're open for viewing on Tuesday. Wednesday we're open for viewing. Wednesday evening we've got another private view, which is a bit more upmarket. Again, anybody's welcome to come along. We'll be serving a glass or 2 of champagne and a few nibbles. And then Thursday we're open for viewing again. And Thursday evening we've got the sale starting at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you can bid online now, and then at 7 o'clock on Thursday, I take the gavel and we go from where we are online and go live.
Yeah.
But during that time, people can still continue to bid on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we'll be monitoring it then.
Yes.
So we won't be starting from zero. We'll be starting from wherever we are on Thursday, the 9th of April.
So quite a busy week for you coming up with showing the cars. But I think it is important for people to come down, and that there's 48 lots in the auction. So there's a lot to look at. Cars of different sizes and price ranges, but also that memorabilia as well, to pick up a few bits and pieces. It should be a good event.
Yeah, I think in this modern day and age, every auction house, it seems today, is going, everything's online. It's online. It's online. You can't see it. Bid online. Well, when we went through, COVID, that sort of made sense, but we really think that the traditional model, as extolled by the major auction houses around the world in the US and Europe and the UK, we still believe that that's the right way to go. We want people to see things, to touch things, to talk about things. We want people to feel comfortable. Our reputation is about showing things properly, explaining everything to everybody. We're talking about the Derby Bentley 4.25. It's not matching numbers, but it's as good as it gets, in my opinion. But we will hand on heart tell everybody everything that we can.
And everything here is tactile. So you're getting all of your senses. You've got the visual. I said you can look at the vehicles and the style. And even if you're not really into cars per se, coming in and just, again, seeing what was produced in the factories around the world, and just getting to understand, the importance of some of these vehicles.
That's right. From Guangzhou to Cardiff, we've got everything
in between.
in between. I think it's a really exciting collection, Stephen. I'm very pleased to have your support and the opportunity to talk once again to your listeners, who I hope enjoy listening to our discussion. But more importantly, I hope they want to come along and have, you don't have to buy, just come along and have a look. Come along and see the cars, come along and see the pictures. And then you might be tempted, who knows?
And certainly ask questions, because there'll be people here that can talk about the vehicles, even if it is a Toyota Corolla or a Fulu, right up to the racing green engineering Bentley. So you'll learn a lot by coming down and talking.
That's right. Thank you. And talking, thank you very much indeed for talking.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. And if you're free on Monday or Wednesday, then head down to Mascot to get a view of the cars on offer. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favourite player, whether it is Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, YouTube and Mixcloud, and get the episodes delivered as they're published. Sadly, Samsung has closed their podcast platform in favour of the more established players. And if you like classic rock music, then bid on the prints in the auction. And once you've listened to Motoring Weekly on Mixcloud, go find White Rabbit Radio, which is our sister radio program. We do classic cars and classic rock. You can also subscribe to the website, motoringweekly.com.au, and you'll also get notified when a new episode is uploaded. You can listen to all the episodes there if you don't use a podcast app. I'm Stephen Wells, and you've listened to Motoring Weekly, the podcast for the Australian historic road and racing community.